My name is Hasmath Ali. I am the Acting Registrar of Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals at the Ministry of Health. Our organization is part of the Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division, and our mandate is to safeguard human health and the environment from the deleterious effects of pesticides and toxic chemicals. In Trinidad and Tobago, one of our main issues is that we use a lot of chemicals, and unfortunately the storage and use is normally not in line with what is required by law. Chemicals are stored in poor conditions, which may eventually lead to their breakdown and breakdown to the containers in which they are stored, which could eventually affect the environment in a negative way and ultimately affect human health, causing a lot of diseases. Today we have a lot of problems with cancers and some of the more chronic type illnesses which can be attributed to poor pesticide management. One of the main projects being undertaken by the Ministry of Health in particular is looking at the disposal of a large stock of obsolete pesticides which reside in Trinidad, approximately 76 tons of obsolete pesticides, which was carried over from our sugar industry days. Those chemicals have been sitting there for a very long time and the conditions have deteriorated over the years. And as such, with help from our external partners, the Food and Agriculture Organization, we've been able to put a project in place to assist with the disposal of those chemicals. In Trinidad and Tobago as well, there's a project being undertaken by the Basel Regional Center and the Ministry of Planning and Development, one of our partners, where we are looking at, again, removal of the persistent organic pollutants within the country. Of course, the persistent organic pollutants, or POPs as they are called, are quite dangerous chemicals. And with regards to the human health, from the Ministry of Health perspective, can be a contributor to a lot of chronic illnesses. The general public basically need to play their role with regards to proper management of chemicals at the household. A lot of times persons buy pesticides in particular and they have them stored carelessly, or they buy them and they don't use all the pesticides that they buy, and they sit there in some storage, which eventually can cause harm to children, pets, etc. And what the public needs to know is that they need to buy just the amount that they need to use. If they do have obsolete pesticides or old chemicals to dispose of, they just don't throw it down the drain or contaminate the environment. They need to get proper service providers to remove those chemicals and have them disposed of in a proper way. The general public also needs to educate themselves, do a lot of reading. We have a lot of information on the net available with regards to chemical and chemical management. And those are just some of the things that the general public could get involved in that would not only safeguard themselves but also safeguard the environment and Trinidad and Tobago. As Registrar of Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals, I encourage everyone to go wild for sound chemical management in Trinidad and Tobago.